The year of refugees who are so desperate to actually confront that final piece of water between Indonesia and Australia as the only place where they can get the safety and security that they actually need. And I think we also want to recognise that we have a particularly callous government, that we're going to hear a lot over the next few days, and perhaps the next couple of weeks, about they'll cry crocodile tears about the loss of life at sea, but they will do nothing in terms of the power in their hand that could provide safety for people in Indonesia, safety on that boat trip. Why do we have a situation where they don't increase the humanitarian intake? A simple measure which they could do with a stroke of a pen. We've got historically low proportions of that humanitarian intake at the moment. They could double it, and it would still be lower than it was under Hawke and Keating in the early 1990s, but that would mean every single refugee and every person registered in Indonesia would be able to be brought by plane or by Navy ship from Indonesia to Australia. A simple measure, Julia Gillard and Chris Bowen, a simple measure, a humanitarian response would mean people could come here, could come here safely.
Thank you very much, Ian. Thank you all for coming out today. I think it's a really important thing that we all do, considering how nasty the political debate in relation to some of the world's most vulnerable people is about to get. We know that for the last 12 months we've seen both the government and the opposition continue to only want to argue about how we put people offshore, out of sight, out of mind, rather than dealing with the issues of what is a very complex humanitarian issue. When people flee their homelands in desperation of safety, security and freedom for their families, no one takes that decision lightly. You all know that. Many of you here today, I've visited you in detention centres. I've heard your stories. I was just talking to a man just a moment ago who told me that despite being in Australia as a refugee now for a number of years, can't contact his family because in Burma, his family's village has been burnt to the ground. And that is the reality of the types of situations and circumstances that asylum seekers and refugees face on a daily basis. We need to find a better way of looking after the needs of these people, a better way for providing protection. No one takes a journey on a boat because they think that's the easy solution. It is the only option that many of them see they have.
We have problem because of the war, and we have another problem because of religion. And we are Shia, and that's our problem.
How old were you when you decided to make the boat, when you made the boat trip?
I was 17.
17?
Yeah.
Can you describe what it was like, what your boat was like, and what the conditions were like at sea?
Actually, I spent 2 months in Malaysia, and I spent another 2 months in Indonesia, and I didn't know how to speak. It was a strange country, strange people for me. And I had to listen to smuggled people. I had to trust them, my friend as well. And my journey took 1 week by boat from Indonesia to not Christmas Island, in an island called Kashmir, and then Australian Navy took us. And we had food for a day, and we were 30 people in the boat. It was very small boat because I could touch the water of ocean with my hand.
How many people were in your boat?
We were 30, about 30.
Was it a safe boat?
No, like, I still remember just lots of voice because of the boat. It was very, very old boat. It wasn't like...
Were you scared?
I wasn't scared. I wasn't scared. And it was crazy. It was my first journey. I just left my family. And I don't know. I can't describe it.
Why would you take that risk?
After living in Iran and Afghanistan and try hard, and I remember when I lost one of my brother in Iran, my mom and I went to UNHCR in Tehran, Shiraz Avenue, and tell them about our story. And they said, before we're gonna listen to you, you have to show us your document. And my parents leave Afghanistan 30 years ago since Russia come there. And they used to live illegally in Iran. And I had no document. And they said, you have to bring a document. And we had nothing to show them. And we explained to them. And they said, no. And we tried to get like humanitarian visa from UNHCR. And they said, you can't apply because you have no document here. And lots of stuff like that.
In short, how does life compare here in Australia to what your life was like before?
I can say it's much better than my country. I was struggling with something like with the language, with the culture, with the way of talking with people, but I feel comfortable now. I'm happy to because I'm living here, but I'm very homesick. I miss my family. I haven't seen them for about 5 years. I miss them a lot. Sometimes I think, why I had to born refugee? Why my fate become like that? What's different between me and other guys? Why I had to leave my story, my family, my friends, and came to a country and start from zero? And the most painful feeling for me when I was in detention, why I had to say to agent of immigration to help me. I'm young, I'm proud of myself. I don't want to say to anyone to ask about it. Why my fate become like that and force me and push me to act like it's a.
What was it like in detention? Can you describe it?
It was like, I want to call them prison, not detention, because as my experience, I had a lot of bad happen in my life. I left my family, and a lot of stuff happened in Malaysia and Indonesia. I spent a week in the boat. When I got in Australia, I was very happy at the beginning. When I got there, I heard some news from Australian government and refugees, and they said there is a policy, because they just made a policy that time for Hazara people, and they said Hazara people cannot do interview for 6 months. And I was waiting for 6 months for the interview. And after 6 months we had interview, and it took 13 months totally. And like they treat us as a criminal. They treat us as someone who did a big crime. We just try to save our life.
What would your message be to the government today?
I'm just gonna say to them, the refugees are human, are free. If you want to see this stuff by the law or by heart or by sensitive stuff, you can't keep people in detention. Like, this is a part of the law. When someone comes to a country and apply for refugee visa, you have to find out about them, they are refugee or not, and then you can make a decision. You can't treat them as an animal. You can't keep them in detention because they came from country. And I want to tell the Australian government, I'm not really sure about other refugees who came to another country because I've never been there. But I'm sure about Afghanistan, Iran, and Iraq. I heard a lot of news from Australian government and they're supporting Iranian people to fight because of their right against their government. But when they got problem and they came here for help, they're gonna back up and say nothing. Since American soldier and foreign soldier got Afghanistan and Iraq, some of Australian soldiers get there because of helping people, helping Afghan people. Why, when some of them come here because of help, you don't want to help them in your land? And it's like, I can't understand, it doesn't make sense for me.
Great, thank you very much, Ali.
You're welcome.
Up a message, say it loud, say it clear. Refugees are welcome here. Say it loud, say it clear.
Refugees are welcome here.
Say it loud, say it clear.
Refugees are welcome here.
Say it loud, say it clear.
Refugees are welcome here.
Okay, let's hope they can hear that on Christmas Island and in Indonesia. There's another little group of people I wanted to mention at the moment. And that's the group of ASIO-negative, not just Tamils, Iranians and Rohingya refugees who have been found to be ASIO-negative and face a life sentence inside the detention centre. These two placards today are actually the first time that some of them have put their names and faces on placards, and we said that we would make sure they were carried in the demonstration today to let them know that they too are welcome in Australia. And there's 60 people now who are found to be ASIO-negative with no right of appeal, no charge, no trial, but a life sentence. One of the things I think that horrified people after the Labor government was elected, and was one of the first things which indicated the Labor government was going down the same road that had been paved by John Howard, was the reopening of Curtin Detention Centre. And not only has it been reopened, it has been at times full to capacity, and just this week we've seen 300 people moved from Christmas Island to Curtin, moved from Wickham Point, the new detention centre in Darwin, to Curtin, and there's every indication that more people are going to be jammed into Curtin and to the Sugar Detention Centre. But that move by the Rudd government at the time was also a bit of a signal to people inside the Labor Party and Labor for Refugees and elsewhere to begin a movement again inside the Labor Party, inside the Labor movement, to get the kinds of changes to policy out of the Labor Party that we actually need. They fought at the last Labor conference unsuccessfully, but nonetheless they fought to end mandatory detention as a policy of the Labor government. So please welcome the next speaker for Labor for Refugees, Jenny Haynes.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here to bring you greetings on behalf of the hundreds of members of the Labor Party who are now members of Labor for Refugees in 4 states, Queensland, New South Wales, Victoria and Western Australia, and Tasmania, 5 states. These are very grim times. We have fought hard inside the Labor Party since 2001, when John Robertson and Amanda Tattersall and Paul Howes started Labor for Refugees in opposition to what was then the Beazley government policy of responding to John Howard, and it was appalling. Since that time, we've been at every national conference, we've been at every state conference, and we have improved on that policy. And things did change, I have to say, a little bit after 2007 with the election of the Rudd government. But since then, we have gone backwards. We have gone backwards on policy, we have gone backwards on practice. We have improved policy inside the party. National conference policy now is 1,000 times better than it was in 2001 in terms of the recognition of the rights of refugees. The problem is getting government to implement that policy. The problem is getting government to even read that policy. The problem is getting them to put that policy into practice. What we have to stop is government by default. What we have with our government at the moment is a government that responds to the agenda of the coalition and then puts in place some new government initiative. Do they go and consult their own policy documents? No. So that's our role. Our role is to constantly put in front of the government, this is what the party says, this is what the national conference says, this is what our state conferences say, this is what party members want. Please change direction. We face very grim times in the very near future. We've just had this terrible tragedy on the sea with 90 people dying, possibly more, due to inaction, apparently, by the Maritime Safety Authority and various other forces. And I certainly fully support Ian's call for an inquiry. I think an inquiry is absolutely necessary in this circumstance to establish exactly what happened and can we stop this happening in future. We also face the horror of another debate over the Malaysia solution in the coming weeks. One of the things that I think has happened in the last couple of days has been the indecency of the debate over the Malaysia solution within about 5 minutes of the first person drowning. I mean, really, does anybody in this country have any sense of decency anymore when they can just hold off on the coalition fighting the Labor Party over the Malaysia solution, at least until people are rescued? However, we do have that debate coming up in the coming weeks, and no doubt the coalition is going to propound the same line that they've propounded all the way along the line, which is stop the boats, turn the boats around, turn them around on the high seas, which of course means more people will drown, which of course means more service people will be put at risk. But they know that rings bells in the minds and the ears of people in marginal seats, and that's what a lot of this is about. It's about electoral politics in marginal seats, where uninformed people are running this government because they're so scared that they'll get voted out at the next election. We have to get away from this government by default. We have to get out there and canvass these people in their marginal seats and educate them and put in front of them the facts. And I personally am calling upon people, anyone who's left of centre in Australia, whether you're Labor Party, Green, Democrat, whatever you are, right, to work very hard at the next election. We have to stop the coalition being elected. Because if we have the coalition being elected, we've got Tony Abbott, we've got Stop the Boats, we've got Drown More People, and then it's going to be a disaster for this country. Thank you.
say it loud, say it clear. Refugees are welcome here. Say it loud, say it clear. Refugees are welcome here. Malaysia Agreement, no way. Let them land, let them stay. Malaysia Agreement, no way. Let them land, let them stay. Malaysia Agreement, let them land, let them stay.
Really in our borders anyway. Like, let's go back to Indonesia.
Come on, everybody remembers the tragic event of the asylum seekers boat. Almost more than half people asylum seekers died, drowned in the water. Who is responsible for this tragic event? Who is responsible for this inhuman event? Australian government. So resettlement in Australia, not in Nauru, neither in Malaysia. Spend money on resettlement of asylum seekers. Thank you.